Have you ever had a big goal? And I think that wherever we all are in life, we always set goals. It could be that you're going to university and you want to graduate at the end of the 3 years, okay? Or it could be that you're looking at getting a PhD. It could be that you're looking at writing a book, okay? Or even running your very first marathon, climbing the Rwenzori. So have you ever set a big goal? So welcome to this edition of Wellness, where we are going to talk about goal setting and how to set your goals into mini goals, because these then drive you to, achieving your big goal. My name is Dr. Victoria Katasi. I am a health and wellness expert. I'm also a specialist treating children with brain and spine cancers. And with me is
Rachel Kanyana, and I'm a communication strategist and specialist. And welcome to today. So today's topic, Dr. Victoria, I feel like it is timely. Being that it's the new year, I find that many people, well, with me inclusive, we set really new goals, but in those new goals, we have humongous goals. And through experience, or even what I've seen as well, most people fall off. They end up not pursuing these goals because of how huge they are. So I love that you are going to talk about having mini goals, because I have seen a lot of content online and all the stuff, but very rarely that they are talking about mini goals particularly. Usually they're talking about, set your goals, set goals, have goals. Yes, but what about the mini goals? So I would love to hear what you have in store for us today.
So thank you very much, Rachel. We'll get right into it. The idea of mini goals is that you are dividing your big goal, we won't call it a big goal, or your overall goal, into smaller achievable tasks, which we will call our mini goals over time. So at the beginning of this year, one of your goals may be, we said to run a 10K marathon. And let's say, for example, the marathon is in May.
Yeah.
And we are in January. So, and you're not somebody who has been routinely running or even jogging.
Yeah.
So the question is, how do you go about it? You may feel overwhelmed. How am I going to actually run 10K?
Yeah.
How do I start? And this is the importance of putting down your mini goals. This acts like a roadmap or a blueprint of how to get there. So maybe you will start with, I will walk for maybe 15 minutes daily for the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And you see, you've set a deadline. The deadline is 2 weeks. You've set a specific goal because it has walk 15 minutes first 2 weeks. And you are assessing yourself. Then at the end of the 2 weeks, when you are more flexible, your body has adapted, then you say you will increase the walking and say, and the next 2 weeks or the next 1 month, I will increase my walking and maybe walk for 45 minutes around the block. And then maybe the next 2 weeks, I will start to jog around the block for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then maybe the remaining 1 month, that after that, I will now jog for an hour.
Yeah.
And the last 2 months or the last 1 month, I will be sprinting.
Yeah.
So in that way, you have actually built yourself up. Slowly by slowly, you're gaining momentum towards that big goal that you want. Because the goal was to run a 10K marathon.
Yeah.
But you want to build the stamina that it takes to run a 10K marathon. So with time, you're increasing the intensity of how much you work out through walking, jogging, then running. And then sprinting. Yeah. And also the duration of how long can I take moving from 15 minutes to moving through things like 20 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. By the time you're done, you've built the stamina that you need to run for the length of time for the 10K marathon.
Okay, yeah. I get the picture when you say that, actually. And I mean, I like that you gave that example of a marathon, because for me, I saw it as a challenge that I set up for myself this year was to participate in a marathon, run a marathon, because I've never done that really.
Neither have I, by the way.
So, but I've been thinking, I'm like, how am I going to actually achieve this? So I started walking in my neighborhood. I don't normally walk. Normally my physical workouts are either in the gym or I work out from home. So I started walking around, and I started walking like 30 minutes. I'm fairly fit, and I felt like I only stopped because it was getting dark.
Yeah.
But I wasn't necessarily tired, and And I feel like, yes, I think I can do this. But I think what you just explained will make sense. And other than, just going all in, I think I need to plan, like, I need to have those mini goals to say that this next 2-3 weeks, I'm going to walk for this amount of time and distance. And then I keep on increasing. Right? I think that will really set me up for success when that time comes.
Indeed, we wish you success in
Thank
this
you.
journey of the marathon, and we can't wait to see the pictures when you have done the marathon.
Oh, yes.
Because we need the evidence that you ran.
Oh, you best believe I'll definitely post them. Yeah.
All right. So when we are talking about these mini goals, why is it important for you to have mini goals? Because remember, we've said just setting a huge goal and putting it there
Yeah.
is overwhelming. Okay.
Yeah, it's intimidating.
So it's intimidating that some people actually fail to start,
True.
or they start and get discouraged along the way and stop. But the beauty of actually having mini goals is every time you achieve one of these mini goals and you get a success, one of the things that you will do is reward yourself. Because one of the ways that we inspire or motivate ourselves is through rewards.
Sure.
So, and this is something that you will also set as part of your process, that, when I achieve this, I will give myself something.
Yeah.
It could be that, there's that dress you've wanted. Okay. And that's, you see how people put a goal of, when I lose this much weight, I'm
going to
buy
buy a
that
new
dress
dress.
that I can fit
Yes.
in. Okay. Or it could be that I will buy myself a new pair of running shoes. Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you want, that works for you. I'll buy myself that book that I've been wanting, or register for that course. Something that costs you, but something that you actually like, or something that you enjoy. It could be, I'll just take myself out for a day in the spa.
Yeah.
So what works for you? So the importance is that, when they drive you to success. Okay. And of course, when you succeed, you have the confidence that I can do it. I can actually go on to the next step. And because you actually have the confidence in yourself, you become consistent, you keep going. And thus you build what we call momentum.
Yeah.
And with momentum over time, you're definitely going to achieve your goal.
You go, oh, okay, that's a really, really nice one. Do you think it has something to do with competence? Because when you reward yourself, I think it triggers your brain that you're actually capable, which also builds motivation along the way, right? Yeah, I love that.
Self-belief, and you know that I can do it.
Yes.
If I've done it once and I've done this step, why not the next one?
Right. So reward yourself, guys. You had it.
Okay, so the other, power of mini goals, or the other, advantage of mini goals, is that it helps you to have like a clear plan of where to go, which we would call a roadmap or a blueprint. Because if you're going to achieve anything, okay, if you have a target, an end target in mind, you need to have a clear path of how to get there. And this is what we call a roadmap or a blueprint. This is what the mini goals do for you, because you have set a time and say, the first 1 month or 2 months, this is what I do.
Yeah.
This is how I do it. This is when I do it. This is how much time I used to do it.
Yeah.
And you've set the next 2 months, this is what happens. So what you've actually put in place are not just those mini goals you're attaining, but you've actually created a path of how to get to
Yeah.
a big goal in the long run. And this also is a way of ensuring that you're more successful at in the end at achieving your big goal, because you have a roadmap.
So previously you talked about systems. Does creating that path of roadmap really entail also creating systems? Is that similar thing, or?
Yes, because you see, every time you're making the mini goal, you're actually creating. You'll have to create systems around it. Like, let's say you want to run a 10K marathon. Now, your mini goals are for the first maybe 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm not really very physically fit. I am going to walk. But I'm going to start with walking. We said 15 minutes around the block. And you will decide, maybe I will walk 5 days a week. Okay. So how do I ensure that I'm actually going to walk the 5 days a week and I have the 15 minutes?
Yeah.
So this is where you come in and say, okay, what time am I available? For me, is it the morning that works? What time do I start work, or is it the evening? And this is where now you're going to have to now work on things like, I have to get up on time. If I have been, delaying in bed by an extra 15 minutes because the alarm goes off and I snooze it. Now remember, those 15 minutes are supposed to be for my walk.
Yes.
So if I waste them now in the morning, I will not have time to
have to
walk. So
walk,
the systems that you're now putting in place are to ensure that when my alarm goes off, I will get up on time.
Okay.
So at the end of my day, I have the 15 minutes. And so you insert those 15 minutes in your schedule, because now you set a time to get up.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, there are those 15 minutes. You also inserted them in your schedule. Okay, like that. So you kind of will put systems, because you always need a sort of a system around each goal that you need.
Yeah, to support the goal. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, thank you for explaining that.
Okay. So, and then the other thing about mini goals is that they keep you consistent, because remember we said you build momentum over time. Every time you achieve one of them, you're successful, you get inspired, motivated,
Yeah.
you gain confidence, you're gaining momentum.
Yeah.
And so with this momentum, you become consistent. One mini goal to another mini goal to another mini goal, so your progress is steady. And by the end of it all, you have actually achieved your big goal. Yeah.
And I mean, consistency, I think it's such a key player in achieving your goals. We were talking about something, I think, in the previous video that we recorded, guys. If you haven't seen it, it will be linked in the description box below. But we talked about, it was about building a perfect routine or habit stacking. And you talk about really, it's not about perfectionism, it's not about being perfect, but the goal is to be consistent. And I think, like Dr. Victoria pointed out, one of the ways you can achieve that consistency is through having those mini goals. So as you win one goal, one mini goal, onto the next one, before you know it, you are consistent. Okay.
That is true.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Okay. Then, also the other beauty about mini goals is that it's easy to adjust a smaller goal. Because probably the systems that you've put in place for you to achieve this small goal are also small, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's easy to make a course correction when you realize this is not working very well, or this, can change a bit because my schedule is no longer this flexible. As opposed to if you had just one huge goal and you've made a roadmap that is just set in stone to get you to that place, making one adjustment may be so difficult because of all that you have put in place to get there. So it's also easier to adjust, and that is also one of the things that is an advantage about having mini goals.
Okay, so I mean, like you explained earlier, it really makes the bigger goal lighter, as opposed to having the entire weight of the big goal. So it makes sense, making an adjustment or a course correction to it would be even easier as opposed to the opposite.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to get into, and probably it will be a bit of like a summary of what we've been talking about, how to set your mini goals. Okay. So remember, we said first you need to pick, because the mini goals come from a big goal. Okay. So first pick your big goal. Choose your big goal. Decide what your big goal is.
Yeah.
And of course, with every goal, there have to be some particular characteristics, like a timeline.
Yeah.
A deadline. So if I want to run a 10K marathon this year, when is the 10K marathon? Okay, is it in June? Is it in November? So you know what you're working with.
Yeah.
Because normally if you don't have a timeline or a deadline to something, we tend to procrastinate, because somehow you convince your brain that you have the time.
Yeah.
And so you're not in a rush to achieve it.
True.
But if you have a timeline, you're actually able to know, this is how much time I have. So how can I actually work within this time to get there?
Yeah.
Okay? And so you plan accordingly. So pick your big goal, write it down, and make sure you have a deadline. And then think through that big goal. So let's say, think through, this is the point when I am running the 10K marathon. Okay, so this is the day that I'm running the 10K marathon.
Yeah.
So see yourself on that day and think through, for me to get to this day, what did I need to do? Okay.
Yeah.
And kind of retrace the steps.
Right.
Think through backwards, like, what do I need? Because right now what you're going to do is write the roadmap as you're breaking down into that, and this is where your mini goals will come from. Okay?
Right.
So you will, on this day, I was able to run 10K in this amount of time. How do I actually run 10K in this amount of time? How did I get there? So, okay, so what should I be? I should have been, physically fit. I should have had the ability to, regulate my heart rate while sprinting or jogging at this point for this long. So then you start to now work backwards. So what do I need to do to be able to have that stamina to run for 3 hours, to regulate my heart rate at this point? And so in there is where now you're going to decide, okay, walking, running, maybe some strength training, okay?
Yeah.
Some endurance exercises that build endurance, things like that. Because you thought through on that day to achieve success, what you would be like. It's kind of like looking at your future self, okay?
Right.
The woman that I want to be, how much I am going to earn, what I will look like, what I'll be doing. So how do I get to that woman? What did I do to get to be that woman?
Right.
And so you start putting in place those things
Yeah.
that would get you to be that woman.
Okay. That is an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
And in that regard, Dr. Victor, I would love for you to talk about the executive planner because, as you say, you have to identify your big goal, you have to write it down, then have a timeline for it. But we need a tool to do that.
That is yes, that is true. So we have created an executive planner, and it's really an amazing thing that it's also the beginning of the year. So you can start your planner at any time of the year, though it does not have specific dates, and it was created for that purpose intentionally, not to have specific dates, because depending on when you buy it, you're able to start with it. However, it has sections where you put the year's goals as a whole, and then you break down these goals into quarters. So what do you want to achieve in the first quarter, in the second quarter, the third quarter, and the fourth quarter, because you're breaking down into your year's goals. You see, your goal could be, maybe I want to publish 3 papers, manuscripts this year, 2025. That's the year's goal. And maybe get 2 grants. So how do you go about it? And you could say, in the first quarter, I will write 1 manuscript and start on 1 grant. And I'll work on that grant through the first quarter and the second quarter. In the second quarter, I'll do another manuscript. In the third quarter, another manuscript, something like that. Okay. And now from the quarters, we also divide it further into months. So you're able to write down what your monthly goals are, okay, and what your priorities will be for that month. And then from the month, we also have divided it into sections of weeks. So that then daily, you're able to write on this week on Monday, what is my to-do list? What are my priorities? What am I planning for that day? And this is now you making your mini goals from your big goals of the year. And each day you're actually working on those goals and tracking them.
So as Dr. Victoria has pointed out, this is such a great tool if you want to remain organized, you want to have all your goals in one place, your yearly goals, your quarterly goals, but also your monthly goals and your daily goals in one place. This is such a great tool, and you can see that it's compact, it's travel size friendly. Paper quality is amazing. I can't emphasize that enough, to be honest. I would love for you to grab yourself one. We'll link you will link in the description box below how you can order one for yourself and win. 2025, we are all about winning our goals, and I know you're going to do it in an organized manner with this amazing tool for you.
So thank you very much, Rachel. And as we are coming to the end of this edition, we'll do a recap of what we've been talking about, and that is setting mini goals right from your big goals. So you start with a big goal. So choose your big goal, have a deadline for the big goal. We said our big goal is running a 10K, and we are setting the deadline in June. So from us choosing and setting a deadline for the big goal, then we said we retrace the steps. So think through what it would take for me to be able to achieve that big goal. And from this, we are now creating a roadmap. So we are going to now create our mini goals from these steps that we are retracing or that we are thinking through, what it would take for us to get there. And with each of these mini goals, of course, there's a timeline to it. And then, of course, the most important part also is tracking. Because if you don't track, you will not know your progress, and you will not know how good you're doing. You won't even be able to reward yourself when you are succeeding in those mini goals. As you said, you have to reward yourself as well when you succeed in your mini goals.
Wow, thank you so much for pouring into us, Dr. Victoria, yet again. It's always amazing being here with you in studio. Dear viewers and subscribers, well, if you haven't subscribed yet, this is your time to smash that button, but also feel free to like the video and leave us a comment. What point stood out the most for you? Would love to hear from you, and we'll definitely respond. I will see you in our next one. Bye.